Okay, so welcome again to our first informational session for the year. We are very excited for those of you who are able to make it. Once again, we know a few others wanted to attend but couldn't make it because of time constraints. And that's all right. So we're going to go on and go forward with our message and go forward with what we promised. If you have any questions, there'll be a moment where you'll be able to ask questions. And if you would like to text your questions, you could do so as well. All right. So we're going to tell you a little bit about who we are here at VUNA. Okay, so our story actually started back in 2013. Initially, we were called the Pokot Mission Project because we were focusing on a place called Pokot in Kenya. So that's where we actually started our focus. And the VUNA itself is a joint initiative between the Pokot Mission and Isaiah 58 Ministry. And so we teamed up with this ministry and needed to join together because we saw that there was strength in numbers and we needed to come together and be more powerful that way. This was in 2013, we actually merged, and we actually comprise of Seventh-day Adventist Christian professionals as based in the USA and also in Kenya. We adopted the name VUNA because actually for two reasons. VUNA means harvest in Kiswahili, and it also stands for Voices to Unentered Areas. There are many places in Kenya and in other African countries that are just not being helped and not being focused on by international missions and even local missions. And we wanted to be a ministry that focused on people in unentered areas. So we started with Pokot, but we do want to venture out, and we actually will mention a little more about our mission trip that is coming up. If you haven't gone to our website, we actually have the website written here on the screen. So it's vunainternational.org. And you could always email us at info@vunainternational.org. Our mission verse is taken from Micah 6-8. It says, "He has shown you, O mortal, what is good, and what doth the Lord require of you? To act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." Our vision is compassion stirred into action, resulting in restored justice in isolated communities. And our mission is to empower isolated communities by developing contextualized programming to facilitate locally sustainable humanitarian relief. Now, although that was a mouthful, that just says that we do not just go into a community or an area just to bring help or aid to that community. We actually try to help sustain different initiatives and to actually encourage the people in different communities to be sustainable. And that's what we're really focusing on. We don't just want to give a helping hand, because a helping hand could only go so far. But we are empowered and encouraged to help others in the community find their strengths and to help them empower themselves. So when we leave, they could take care of themselves. Our team is comprised of a few individuals in the USA and also in Kenya. Ezra Kenyana is our director. Myself, I am the public relations person here in the team. We have Lauren Rutledge, who's actually here. She's on the team right now and on the call. Katie Serba, she is based in California, and she couldn't be with us today, but she's a part of the team as well. We have also two of our newest members on the team as well. We have Tamar and Andreen also joining us. In Kenya, we have a 3-member team so far. We have Adams Ogeri, he's the treasurer. He's based in Nairobi. Matthew O'Willie is the education coordinator. And Gilbert Roches, he's the community organizer and chaplain. And you could find all this information on our website, we definitely want to encourage you to check our website out. So I know I just introduced the team. I'm going to move on to testimonies. I'm not exactly sure if we could actually share some testimonies. I will see if I could get our volume here to work, because right now I can't hear anybody else, and I just want to make sure that those of us who've actually been on the mission trips could also share a little bit about our experiences on the different Pokot and Turkana mission trips that we have attended. So bear with me for one moment. Let me make sure that I can have everyone speaking.
Can everyone else hear me? Can you ask
The
him?
text has come in. Let's see.
I can hear you, Ezra.
I can hear you as well.
Okay, so it's only Kim who cannot hear us.
Oh, okay, great. All right,
Oh,
so you guys could hear each other, which is good.
Yeah.
I can't hear anybody. So,
Okay.
but I could see when someone's talking because the name just pops up. So Ezra, you could take over from here, and you could just let me know when to chime in.
Okay. Okay. All right. So as you've heard, thank you, Kim. Kim has shared with us a little bit about our organization and what we do. And so far, everyone who's here has been on mission. Tamar went last year. We've had Lauren was there, I think 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years in a row. Kim, not through VUNA, but she has gone to several missions. She was in Tanzania and she's gone through Kenya. And of course, myself and other people who are not in the call. So at this time, I'm just going to ask anyone to share their experience, what drove, what they experienced, what they expected when they were going to go to mission, and how it was when they came back, and anything that stood out for you or stands out for you with the missions that you've been a part of. All right, anyone would like to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. I just wanted to first and foremost just welcome my friend Pamela. She is actually a member at my church, Cambridge SDA, and she's eager to learn more, and so I just want to welcome her. So yeah, so a little bit of my experience from last year. We went last July. This was it was my first mission trip ever. Even my first international trip. So it was just definitely a culture shock. There were times where I was uncomfortable and I had to remind myself that it's not about me. So I had to keep dying to myself every day. But I definitely felt God transforming my heart and transforming myself, and just allowing me to just see, how people are able to live their lifestyles, and to just be understanding of that. Because sometimes when you think of and then backtrack. So yeah, it was just an experience that was I'm extremely grateful for still. Just being able to see the people just living in a really, really tough lifestyle, but just be so grateful for what they have and content. It just warmed my heart. And so I just praise God for that experience. It was awesome. Okay.
Right, anyone else? Thank you, Tamar, for sharing your experience.
No problem.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, yes. So, yeah, that was a really cool experience, Tamar. I went to Kenya, I think 2015. It was a whirlwind of a trip, but it was a truly once in a lifetime experience. I learned so much about myself, and I learned how to depend on my team members and kind of pool resources. And I also learned many things about the culture and the people that I would have never learned otherwise. And so you get a real opportunity to talk to the people, to live with them, or just eat with them and see how they live, and they get a chance to learn a little bit about you. I even learned more about my culture and just where I fit in this world. And so it was a really great experience. When I went, I worked with the Vacation Bible School, and a little bit of the medical clinic. Basically did everything, but we cook and just kind of work with the group, and we worship together. And it was a fast experience. It's a whirlwind experience. It will try your patience and as any mission trip will do, but you get to see your skills come out in a rather amazing way, and the skills of your group members. And I find it interesting that I still draw on that experience from those 2 trips to Kenya. I find that the benefits sort of outweigh any of the difficulties and struggles that I may have experienced, getting ready for the trip and being on the trip, and then just trying to get acclimated back. So I advocate for this experience, and I advocate for people bringing other people on so that they can contribute and be blessed by the mission to bless others.
Awesome. Thank you, Lauren, for sharing your experience. Maybe I'll go back and ask a few questions, because that was the experience. But for you, when you are going to Kenya and you're going for this mission, you've never, like Tamara, it was your first time to go out for an international trip. What are some of the things you will tell someone who's preparing to go for a mission? Like, what are some of the things that set you up for success?
Well, it wasn't my first international trip, but one thing that I think will set you up for success is just keeping an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
Anything can go wrong, and it probably will, and you'll have struggles, and but expect to have a good experience with an open mind, and you will.
Awesome. How was the food experience there for both of you? Those are questions that most people are going to ask about food. Where do I sleep? All those kind of things. So how was the experiences?
Well, the sleeping arrangement was actually great for Andreen. It was those 3 people in a hut, I think, a mud house, a hut. So I slept with Andreen and as well as Kate, and it was a pretty good experience. We had our own bed. Well, we shared a bed, but it was pretty comfortable. As far as the food, so I'm Haitian, and so I'm used to eating my Haitian food, and I love my Haitian food. So being able to just experience just another culture's food and some like that, it was just really interesting. But I had to cultivate my palate and just get used to it. But it wasn't bad. There was some foods that were really tasty, but we did a lot of the cooking.
All right, so we cooked ourselves. Okay.
Yeah, ourselves.
And one thing I want to add in that is that there are two levels to the mission. One is when you're at the mission site, and when you're at the mission site, it's going to be real, because out there you get to, there's limited resources, but at the same time, there's plenty, because we plan ahead of time. We take into consideration, like, the missionaries and their diets and what they're expecting and all that kind of stuff. But when you're in Nairobi, you can get almost everything, first class, top-notch restaurants. Our hosts in Nairobi are very good, gracious, kind families of people who, will give you a good meal. So something that people ask that question a lot. What about security issues? How was it for you guys? Now, I know, Tamara, you went to Turkana, and I know, Lauren, you went to Pokot, 2 different environments. A lot of people say, am I going to be safe? Were you guys safe? Did you feel safe yourselves when you're out there?
I did. I felt safe.
I didn't know what was surrounding Pokot, so I was kind of like, what? But I felt safe while I was there, yes. Yeah. I mean, I used to live in South Korea, so you have all kinds of threats, but you obviously are smart about where you're going, and you take a buddy, and and you stay with the group.
All right. For the sake of the record, I'll say that I don't want to die myself, and I'm the director in the group of VUNA, so I'm not going to take anyone, or we're not going to go to a place where it's not safe. And some of the things we have done, like in the places we've gone, we are friends with the chief, with the local leadership. The communities are very hospitable, they're very friendly. And so they make sure that because they love guests and it's the African tradition, they take good care of you and protect you. I know at some point, just to chime in, Lauren had to ride in a police car and it was in the rough roads, and just a different experience, a unique experience in itself. So, and some of the things, whereas Turkana is different, on the other extreme. Turkana borders Kenya, Ethiopia, Sudan, Uganda on the other end, and so they tend to protect the border a lot, and you will see a little bit of warriors and people, but they don't have any concerns and problems with the people who are coming to do humanitarian work. It's just if people mess with their cows, their cattle, then you're in trouble. And for sure, we're not going to mess with their cattle and stuff. All right. I see my brother Vincent has joined. Vincent is, I remember if you heard from the introduction that Kim did for us, she talked about VUNA merged from Pokot missions to Isaiah 58, and Vincent was the founder of Isaiah 58. He is the pioneer for Turkana, has been there many, many years, helped build a church there, helped fight the humanitarian hunger, aspect, food security aspect of VUNA, and also is very excited about building a borehole and providing water in that place. Vincent, what would you have to say about your experience in Turkana and the people you've taken there? What has been the experience for them?
I'm actually excited that you guys are going back there again. That's a good sign. How are you? Hi, Lauren. I think Lauren is on. How are you? Happy New Year.
Yeah.
It's been a long while, but it's nice. I think things are getting better. I mean, Ezra, you guys were there actually last, because the last time I was there was, I think, 2 years ago now. So you guys have actually been there recently than I do. But hopefully by the end of the year I'll go. But it's very, it's getting better, and I don't think safety is more of a concern, now, so it's more of, I think it's more of maybe the sun and maybe, just sometimes water and just the things that, the small comforts which we are used to. And, I think if this is not your first mission, you've experienced that before. So it's nothing out of the ordinary. So,
Awesome.
Yeah.
I think if I can chime in here a little bit and say that, when Vincent used to go there, he used to tell me, I'll sleep outside. I say, who sleeps outside? But when we went there last year, to Mark and attest that the guys, we enjoyed sleeping out. Like at night, we'll sleep out because it was hot and humid. So that goes to show the level of security also. Who won't sleep out at night? We were very comfortable in our places and stuff. Tamara, do you have anything to say
About?
Just generally about? I know for you, you flew in. Just let's talk about the itinerary a little bit. For you, there was a little bit of miscommunication, and you got in the day we were heading out to the mission site. Now, what did you learn from that experience? What are some of the things that you tell someone preparing? How many days should they plan to take off? And in terms of money for extra spending, what would you recommend?
Definitely plan ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So I made the mistake of. So I came late. We were supposed to leave, on a Friday? What day were we supposed to leave?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And I ended up coming a little bit late, which I think delayed the trip a bit. And then I actually purchased my ticket to leave the day before we were supposed to head out. So I had to take a plane a day in advance to head back to Nairobi to catch my flight. So it was just terrible planning. So I advise everyone to just make sure that your tickets and the dates that you're flying out is just the dates that we're actually going, the mission trip dates.
Yep. So just to be specific, our missions run for 10 days. We usually head from Nairobi on a Thursday. We arrive at the mission site on Thursday evening. or Thursday night. We rest on Friday. We get to meet with the community, with the leadership. We get to know where we're going to do our medical camp. We get to know where we'll do our VBS and all those humanitarian aid that we will be doing and other programs. We get to spend our Saturday as a day, most with the local churches that worship on Saturday. We get to spend time with them on Saturday, get to know the community better. And then on Sundays, when we start doing all the mission aspects, the medical camp is running, the VBS is running. If you're teaching, volunteering to teach in school, you get to go to your station where you're assigned, and then you spend the whole week, and then we head back to Nairobi on Sunday. We get back to Nairobi on Sunday evening. Monday is a day that's slotted in for market. If you want to buy souvenirs, you want to see the city, you want to go to the safari. There's one in Nairobi. We plan for the team. And then on Tuesday too, most people fly out Tuesday night. So if you're planning to travel for mission, our advice is probably leave like on a Tuesday or leave like on a Sunday. We're more than willing to accommodate you ahead in advance. And then so that the Thursday of that week, we'll be heading out to the mission site. And when we come back, budget at least 2 days. You rest, get to see Nairobi, get to buy your family gifts and stuff like that. So for planning purposes, Tamara just had to fly from the local airport to Nairobi and straight to Nairobi JKIA airport, and then from there straight to the US. So it was a long trip for her. Yeah, very long trip for her. So plan ahead of time. Our registration for missions is usually $500. That caters for all the aspects of the missions we're going to do, plus your ticket. So if your flight ticket is going to be, let's say, $1,500, depending where you're flying from, then $500 for registration. And then on top of that, if you want to buy your family a souvenir, that's not factored in there. And if you want to go to the safari, it's not factored in there. So that's usually our registration cost. Things to carry when you come for mission, we usually send you a handbook and a package for what to do. What to bring and what not to bring. So we will prepare, always plan to prepare in advance with that. So we'll send you a handbook and the specifics, what you need to do, to bring along. But in terms of gifts, we usually take in material for schools, like books, pens, all those kind of things, teaching resources. For VBS, toys, clothes, all those kind of things are welcome. We also advise people when we are there, stay close with the group so that we can be all on the same team. So I think those are some of the few things that anyone who's thinking of going always needs to consider ahead of time. Did I forget anything? Kim, finally you can hear us.
Yes.
And now let me ask Pamela. Pamela, you've never gone for mission and you're here for this information. Is there a question that you would like us to clarify, or anything like you've never been there and you're like, okay, explain this? I think you're the best person to ask those questions.
Oh, okay, I guess so. Oh, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me to this info session. So most of everything you've said are things I actually kind of know. One, because I've actually been on a mission before, but into Cuba. And I've also been, but not for a mission trip. And I'm Nigerian. So I'm like pretty well, I'm very well versed with everything you basically mentioned. So I guess, So I guess my main question is more so like, when exactly is this happening? I don't actually know the dates. And because I'm a student and I already have like some summer commitments, I want to see if it's actually possible or not, that kind of thing.
All right. I think, Kim, you have the specific dates. I know you're looking at them. I don't have my computer with me right here for the mission.
Okay. I'm going by memory. It's July 10th to the 23rd. And that actually factors in travel time and also extra time. If you want to plan a safari or go to our market, the local market in the area. So we ask that nobody arrives earlier than July 10th and do not leave later than the 23rd. And so that's the full mission, including time for travel. That's all factored in there.
And also, if you're interested in staying longer and doing a safari and stuff, you just let us know. We can plan a separate after we finish the mission, make sure that you're taken care of. The other thing I'll say is that not only you going, but you can also be an ambassador for VUNA. Put the word around at your local church, invite your friends, help fundraise, towards the mission. So those are some of the things. Point people to our website. And also invite people to information sessions like these. We will be holding every third Sunday of every month. We'll be doing an information session around this time. So just inviting more people, even if they don't get to go, at least just getting to hear more about what we're doing, who we are, and they can be the ambassadors of VUNA wherever they go. All right. I think another aspect of VUNA that I'd like to mention besides the mission is VUNA is also in the process of establishing a school in Pokot. And so this year, so thank you, Kim, for sharing the screen. So Kim, if you can can you go back to the screen? Can you go back to the screen
the
a little bit?
pictures?
The pictures, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, if you go back to the pictures, you'll see this is the picture here. Those two boys who are looking up on your on your right, the boy in white and red, those are some of the kids that we're sponsoring. We're paying them for their tuition right now in school. And they've grown. So this is the first time when we adopted them, because they didn't have a place to sleep, and they were, their mom had mental illness. They didn't know their father, so we've put them through school. So if you're not able to go, you can continue educating those two boys. Their names is Kamama and Kipet. If you look at on the picture on the right, on the left, the two pictures, these are programs that we call Days for Girls, where we empower women. And you can see Tabitha and Andrine there, and the lady in the lower picture, her name is Christine. They had finished doing a training on health and sanitary aspects of health for women. And so you see they gave them the kits that we had brought them for gifts, and that's why they're taking photos with them. That was in Pokot. The picture on the lower right is the recent picture, recent most. This was Turkana. We just came back from the mission, and that's Catherine and Andrine and the kids. I think we were either at church here when we took the photo or something like that. So just, you can see more photos on our website, and even the videos of what we have done in the past. Besides the mission trip, another project that we're working on that I was mentioning is establishing a school. In these communities, we have various challenges. In Pokot, it's an educational aspect for girls. So we are working on starting a boarding school for girls. That way we can continue addressing the issues of FGM, female genital mutilation. We can provide a safe zone, a safe house for them, but at the same time provide education. The cost of the startup for the school is $15,000, but when you factor all the fees and stuff, it rounds up to $20,000 just to start up and sponsor roughly between 20 to 30 girls. So we are working on a campaign, and that's an area where you can volunteer to help be part of the fundraising team, be part of the school committee. If you're not able to go for mission, that's another area you can be able to volunteer. More information will come in the next subsequent information sessions we'll be doing. In Turkana, the greatest need there is digging a borehole and a well, as you heard Vincent state. And that's a long-term goal that we'll be working on in the next 1 or 2 years. And we're doing the math, but precisely around another $20,000 should be able to help us get started with the borehole in the future. So some of other projects that we are working on. So at this point, I think I don't have anything else, not unless there's someone who has a question, a comment that they'd like to make before we bring this to an end. All right. All right. So I'm hoping that we will get to hear all. Yes.
Oh, sorry. I think
go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
So I don't know if you've talked to Edwin, if the guy in Turkana, because I think they're expecting that there's some visitors who will be coming, so they're excited about it for sure. And I mean, like you mentioned in Turkana for sure, like for a long time. I mean, the need has been for us to do a well, the borehole, and I mean I think that should continue to be our the main project there for now.
Yes.
And I think you mentioned, I don't know if you mentioned about the church, the church project that they did.
Yes, yes. So let me backtrack for those who will be hearing this record. For your information, we're recording this, so we'll be sending out to more people. So
Okay.
for the sake of those, maybe let me clarify what Vincent is asking here. In the past, or trying to expound to, we have been doing sustainable, as Kim mentioned in our opening remarks. We not only just go in there and do 2 weeks short-term missions and projects. We want to do sustainable projects and empower the local community to be able to own these projects and continue growing by themselves with our support. And in that aspect, we have been doing several projects in Turkana and Pokot, but for the past 3 years, we have spent our time to do a needs assessment. The rationale for us desiring to do a borehole in Turkana is not a dream that we just came up. It's based on our subsequent visits and trips and discussions that we have held with the locals, and that has informed the direction, the trajectory that we're heading. And in Pokot, education and the school has been the outcome of the 4 or 5 mission trips that we have done. And so that's how both areas we have come with these long-term projects. In terms of the churches, in both areas, one of the ways that we're able to work with the communities is they're very religious and very spiritual people. And so the local religious leaders, we work with them very closely in the local churches. In Turkana, we have been able, through the leadership of Vincent, under Isaiah 58, he was able to establish a mud church, but a church that was built out of mud. But recently, as we just came back, we partnered with another organization that is called One Day Church, and they've helped to establish a concrete building there. In Pokot, we also worked with the local church leadership there, and we've also established a church there. So the communities, they know us, and we're not just saying establishing a church in terms of our congregation, but establishing a church in terms of building the churches, building for them. The community has given us up to 50 acres in Pokot that we have already processed for the title deed, but the local leadership is willing to give us up to 1,000 acres of land that we can do development there. As far as Turkana, we have up to 250 acres that has been donated by the community, but we need to go through the process of getting the paperwork and all that stuff so that it can be under the local church, because there's a whole system that the locals sometimes struggle with. So these are some of the aids and the long-term tangible aspects of the services that we're working and partnering with the communities. So going back to Turkana is informed because we want to continue doing more needs assessment, identify where the borehole will be, get to know the community. As we do all these, when we will come back with more information, we'll be saying this is the direction and this is where we're going after the mission when we get back. But that's the long-term plan we're working on. All right.
Yep.
So anyone out there who's listening, who will be listening to this information session, and you have expertise in engineering, you have expertise in borehole drilling, you are in the education field, you are a strategic planner, you are working in fundraising, we need such volunteers to come in. You might not be able to go, but you can sit and help the planning and do all the aspects of the techno aspect of it for the development of these aspects.
One more thing which you probably mentioned and I missed. It doesn't always hurt to bring sometimes your own, like medicine, because sometimes that can be a challenge. If you really need some pain pill, or you might have an upset stomach, that's always something you can just carry, just in case you will need them.
And we will list those on the volunteer package once you sign up for the mission, some of the medication stuff. And because we've been there several, we also carry others. But, if you know yourself and you have medical issues, we work together to, develop all those kind of things. As we close, I want to say that this will not be possible without the work of all these amazing people, Kim and Vincent and Lauren and Tamar and Pamela, who has joined us, and anybody else who has ever gone for mission with us. It's been a blessing and a humbling experience to work with all of you guys. I also want to say thank you to guys like Marco Wino in Netherlands and the rest who are smart, who does our videography and all the photos, and anyone else who has ever committed their time, even if it's praying. May God really, really bless you as we continue working together. All right. And so with that, I will bring it back to Kim if you have anything other than that. If not, then we'll be closing the meeting.
No, I don't have anything else. Just thank you for joining us. And we hope to see you and hear you at our next meeting. and have a wonderful day.
All right.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the next information session. We'll be sending it out, and remember to invite people. Remember to invite people to these information sessions. And if you have any questions, send them to us, info@vunainternational.org ahead of time, so that we can be sure to answer them in the next information session with the specifics that we have. So you'll see our email. You can visit our website, vunainternational.org, or you can also email us at info@vunainternational.org, and with all your questions and the specifics, and then we'll be able to answer them in the next meeting. All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
All right. Bye.